following program contains language and subject matter that you may consider unsuitable for children. Parental discretion is advised.
I am Angel Espino, and this is Inside the Jackal's Head. And we're going to talk about something very, very interesting. But before we get to the topic, which is the rise and fall and then rise again of the Snyder universe and DC universe. But before we get to that, I wanted to ask everybody to please subscribe to my channel. For those who are new on the show here, this is, I think, something that you're going to enjoy. I'm going to do a lot more of these. These will be about 25, 30 minutes long, so it's not going to be too long. But it's going to be me discussing different topics. Today, like I said, we're going to discuss something that I've been kicking around for a while now. As you can see the photo over there. Yeah, right there. But again, please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like, thumbs up, notifications. Please hit that. You know, all that stuff goes well with the channel, and it helps grow the channel. I'm pretty happy with the numbers that I'm doing so far. But hopefully with more and more videos that I put out, you know, we get more and more activity on the channel here. But anyway, moving on. With that said, I did want to address this franchise for a while now. And I know that there's a lot of people that love Zack Snyder and what he did with the universe. And I'm going to go back a little bit here before I continue. Because I think it's very important that you guys know where I'm coming from before I give you my take on the entire thing. I'm a big comic book fan. Okay, huge comic book nerd. Also, I'm a big fan of comic book superhero movies and stuff. And, you know, I was very active in the early 2000s when they had the casting stuff going on for Superman Returns, and everybody was talking about that. And I got into a little bit of back and forth with Dan Harris from the writing crew of Superman Returns, and it got a little dicey there for a second, I'll admit. But you know, going back, that's what almost, man, it's been about almost 15 something, almost 16 years since that happened. So I've kind of like been, you know, in and out of when it comes to like the fandom for, you know, when it comes to talking about these movies, because I have other podcasts and I do other shows that have nothing really to do with comic book or movies. But I did the round table, and you know, I've done a bunch of other stuff since, and because of that, I still kept kind of like, you know, focus on these kind of things. Plus, I also have a lot of inside friends and inside information from people that are within the community that are actually involved in some of these movie projects. I don't like to exploit that, so I don't really talk about that much. But now that I've kind of a little older and I've got a few friends within the industry, you know, there's stuff that I get told once in a while, and I'm like, well, as long as I don't give names, it'll be cool. So that's, you know, something that I'm going to be doing more and more of. But with this in particular, you know, the essence of why this became important to me to do a show on tonight was because I really looked forward to Men of Steel when it was announced. You know, like I said, I'm being me being a big Superman fan and Batman fan and DC Marvel fan, and you know, just I'm a fan in general of comic books, like I said, and I was really looking forward to seeing what Zack Snyder had to do with, you know, to say within this genre. He had done Watchmen, he had done 300, which weren't terribly bad movies. You know, in fact, I actually enjoy 300 quite a bit. It was well done, I think, stylistically by him. I think, you know, one of his real pros is that the man knows how to do action, right? And he knows how to really tell a story visually when it comes to his action. And uh, his best asset is style. Style wise, he does capture the universe of the story he's trying to like go in on pretty well. And I'll always give him props for that because it's not easy to be able to do that and make a movie that actually reflects the characters the way you would think they would act in the comics. So I was kind of like interested in seeing what he would do with Superman after seeing 300 and seeing Watchmen, and I was pretty excited. I went out with family and friends. We saw Man of Steel, and then I came out of the theaters very disappointed. I did not like the movie. It really just let me down. Superman Returns was a terrible movie, and it wasn't Brandon Routh's fault. I know the poor guy's taken a lot of heat over the years, but it really wasn't his fault. Uh, but Man of Steel, I looked at it and I'm like, how do they mess this up? They have an even better cast. He's actually fighting a villain physically, and they still managed to screw it up somehow. I didn't get it. But even with that said, I thought that, okay, maybe a sequel will be able to clean this up and make this a little bit better. And, the movie didn't do a whole lot at the box office, but considering the last couple Superman movies weren't exactly great, the fact that it made slightly more than Superman Returns in itself was kind of a big deal. And it was pretty good. So you could kind of say, well, this could be like Batman Begins, which you had to see that movie to, get the Dark Knight, and then really, put together something that going forward made, $1 billion because the next two Batman movies did that worldwide. And I was like, okay, maybe Man of Steel 2 will be, that movie. And then they busted out with, well, we're doing Batman v Superman and then Justice League. And I'm like, okay, what about Man of Steel 2? And it looked like Warner Brothers lost complete faith in Henry Cavill and in Man of Steel 2. So they went with Justice League light, as there really was in Batman v Superman, because you had pretty much the assembly of the Justice League. So I don't know whether they didn't just call it Justice League Part One. Really, I mean, even when you watch it, it's kind of like they really you can almost say that Batman v Superman was false advertising. Because when you watch the movie, there was very little actual Batman versus Superman. I mean, even the main villain at the end really is Doomsday, right? And you have the inclusion of Wonder Woman in the movie. You have the Flash. So you have already the teaming up of the Justice League, and then the interaction between Batman and Superman is kind of limited. Uh, so there wasn't really a Batman versus Superman epic battle that I think everybody wanted if you're gonna do it. And the story just made no sense. Why Batman hated Superman. Then they made the worst casting decisions ever when they casted, Lex Luthor. Uh, just horrific. The ending was a mess. I mean, nothing really jived well in that movie. They released an extended cut, and it was just a longer cut of a bad movie. So I was like, man, this is really kind of like becoming a rise and fall of Jack Snyder's DCEU. And the movie did well at the box office. It didn't do, I think, globally maybe what the studio wanted, but it did well enough to merit saying, okay, let's do another movie and let's see where that goes. So, in all his wisdom, Zack Snyder was like, okay, well, let's do Justice League next. And he did just that. He went in and he did Justice League. And that was, interesting. Um, the fact that he was able to do Justice League was in itself kind of a um, weird situation. I'll leave it at that. And the reason I say that is for twofolds. One, it really made no sense, why they would rush such a thing, but they did anyway. I don't understand why, but it was done for whatever stupid reason. But two, they really failed to, I think, grasp the Marvel content that they were trying to copy, and that's really, I think, where they failed miserably, because it was clear that they were really trying to copy what Marvel had done, which is go into a team up movie like the Avengers and stuff, and while the idea is fantastic to do something like that and do an actual team up movie, it ultimately fails when you do it and you don't really understand why you're doing it. And that's, I think, what really messed them up is, you know, everybody was on board to do it, but I don't think anybody really knew exactly where to go with the program for Justice League. And I'd say after really they failed miserably with Batman halfway through the production of Justice League, it was almost like, okay, well, what do we do now? That type of thing. And really, there was nowhere to go at that point. It's like you kind of like screwed the pooch already, right? And so, I mean, you kind of look at it and you're like, okay, well, what exactly can you do now? Nothing much. The only thing you could really hope for is for the best at this point. And at that point, really, there wasn't any best because halfway through the production, I think it was, maybe it was a little further in. I know that there was at least 3.5 to 4 hours of an assembly cut left behind, but there was an unfortunate situation with Zack Snyder's daughter that she passed away, and that I'm sure was just a horrible situation for the man. I mean, I could only imagine how hard it is to work under that circumstance, and having to put your best foot forward as a director, knowing that you're also going through this trauma in your life, losing your daughter and stuff. So he walked away from that movie, and they brought in Joss Whedon, which I know the fans openly look at and are not too fond of Joss Whedon. Don't blame you. I really don't blame the fans for not being overly excited about Joss Whedon, but you know, uh, Joss came in, and it almost felt like, and this is funny. We got into this a little bit with one of my friends a while back, and it almost felt like Joss was purposely sabotaging the project. And I hate to say that because you don't really want to say something like that could even be possible, but it almost really felt like he was in there sabotaging the project. And when you look at the final product, like nothing was done according to the way you would think this movie would this thing would go, considering that this was a project that he was handed on a silver platter, right? And you would think that he would have a little bit more of a more sensibilities to really finish the project properly, considering that is also something that his friend, at least I'm pretty sure they're friends. I mean, I don't think there's any hatred between the two of them. At least I haven't heard or read or anything about them not liking each other. So I don't know why Joss went in and made such a drastic change to things. I don't even think to this day, really, if you ask him, like, seriously, like, would he even know, like, why things turned out the way they did? I mean, it was just, maybe we all look at it like, well, he sabotaged it, but maybe in his heart of hearts, he really thought he was doing right by the project. Like I said, I really don't have a clue on what the mindset was, but it was rather sad. I mean, to really go in on it and say that it was a sabotage or whatever. It almost really does feel like it was a sabotage. And again, I don't know why he would do that. But I think that really to me was like, well, I don't think we're gonna see Snyder back involved in this. And then something crazy went down. The fans became very vocal and very loud that they wanted to see, um, you know, uh, the longer cut of Zack Snyder's movie. And lo and behold, this crazy thing happened where fans worldwide were on the same page saying, you know what? Yeah, we kind of want to see that. And we want to not only see that, hell, we demand to see that because, they crapped the last one up real bad. So we really want to see what they could do with this movie, giving it back to the original director and letting him just let him do what he does and put together the assembly cut. And that's really what I thought this Snyder cut was going to be. Nothing more than just the assembly cut with some things finished that weren't finished before. Yada yada yada. Boom, they cut it together. Everybody's happy. Everybody goes home. Done. Right. It didn't turn out to be that. In fact, from the studio's perspective, Warner Brothers was not on board, right? So AT&T came forward, and AT&T is the one that started saying, "Well, you have this product that you have sitting here. We're going through a pandemic. Why haven't you guys made this readily available for the fans?" Makes total sense to me, right? And it made sense to them. Now, if you think about it, that's logical. You have a issue right now where people are, going through this pandemic. It makes sense to, do this and just if you have something sitting there, why let it sit there? Now, mind you, I was against them doing, a Snyder cut, if you will, at first because I figured, if Justice League failed like it did and it was a disaster, and I really didn't like the last two movies, why bother, doing another one? But I saw how much people really wanted to see this, so because of that, I was like, well, let them have their cake and eat it too. So I didn't really, I don't have any power or say in anything anyway, so I kind of just like let it be. And I just recently, sat through the entire thing, and it's vastly different from the one that we got in theaters with Joss Whedon finished to this one. They're two completely different projects. I mean, like night and day different. And it is a better cut. I mean, I'm not gonna lie and sit here that it's not a better overall movie because it is. It's a much better overall production. Um, he spent an extra 80 million fixing the effects that he had left behind before he left the project. And when that came out, there was a lot of fan support, obviously from the Snyder Cut cult, as some are calling you guys. And the studios really, I think, missed the boat because they really could have had something here that going forward made a whole lot of sense. Now they're talking about rebooting Superman again. You have Robert Pattinson doing Batman all over again. And look, I'm not a Ben Affleck or Henry Cavill fan, but I think if you already have this universe established, why reestablish, with new actors and a whole new continuity? Just fix what didn't work on the last two or three films and go forward and make better movies, whether it's with Zack Snyder or not as a director. I think with all the talk now, there possibly being a black Superman. I think that's a great idea if you do like the comic version of Black Superman, which would fit right into something that they did on Man of Steel. and actually makes that movie a little bit more relevant and better, I think. If you guys remember when Superman walks into one of the ships, he actually looks at one of the pods that's open, right? Well, who is not to say that the person who was in that pod isn't like Calvin Ellis, which is right from the comics, and now he's all grown up. That's one avenue of how to bring Black Superman into the mix. And I'm surprised nobody did that. But now that this is a push, I think that would be a cool way of bringing him in and giving that kind of a narrative going forward, and still not losing Henry Cavill's Superman for those who want to see that. And I think even it makes sense if you want to keep the DCEU, the Snyder build, in HBO Max as a platform for those films. That's cool. And then you could have all the heroes have their spin-off movies, but yet get together for HBO Max and do like Justice League cut movies and stuff like that. That would be cool, and you could have like lesser known characters, do their own thing on HBO Max and have their own streaming, shows, which I think also would be a good idea to expand the Justice League a little bit. I know they're talking about, Suicide Squad and all this stuff coming out now. And, those are nice titles, but there's a lot of titles that DC have really given no visual representation to, which should get more representation. In fact, one show that I really liked the first season was Stargirl. And I wasn't a big fan of Supergirl, the TV series, but I did like the season of Stargirl. And they've completely like put season two, I don't know, behind the brick wall, or is it in development hell? I don't know what they're doing with it, but they haven't done anything that I know of as far as any updates on it. So I'm kind of disappointed in that. I want to see a season two of Stargirl, so I hope they do that. But with what we're talking about here with Justice League, it almost feels like a roller coaster ride with Zack Snyder and his version of it. Because for those who are fans, you should be able to have something that you can continue and watch if this is what you like. And there's now the multiverse, right? So there's no reason to cancel one out for another. You can have multiple incarnations and takes and whatnot. Hell, just broke, and I'm going to do a video on this in a few days. That Tom Welling and Michael Rosenbaum are talking about doing an animated version of Smallville. So, I mean, there is room for a lot of things now that weren't available in the past. And, this is just another one of those things. So I don't understand why there's this kind of like roller coaster ride effect with Zack Snyder and his DCEU. Going forward, I think they really should just let what worked works. For the fans who love this universe, just let them have it. I mean, again, you can use this platform for a lot of good stuff, like having them be able to tell other stories, and then just have them team up in a Justice League film and have Superman still be Superman from this. You can bring Calvin Ellis into the storyline. I mean, you can do a whole lot of things within this universe and still make it a lot better project. And have Zack Snyder involved as producer or direct some of the stuff also. I don't think he wants to direct more films within this universe, as he's, I'm pretty sure already had his fill of the DCEU. So, with that said, the rise and fall, unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be a fall because, from all understanding, is Warner Brothers doesn't want anything else to do with this project going forward. They did announce they're releasing the Blu-ray cut and the 4K cut of the Justice League Snyder Cut, which is cool for the collectors and those who are behind the Snyder movement. So for you guys, that's awesome. Hope you enjoy, getting it. But it's sad that you're not going to be able to continue this. So, while I did not enjoy, the previous incarnations of the Snyder universe, I like again going back to this one movie, It's a 4 hour cut. It's visually very good. I'm not getting into spoilers or anything because I'm not a spoiler type of guy. But visually, it's a very good movie. The story is a little bit better cohesively. Still don't like the casting of Lex Luthor, and you're never going to convince me that Jesse Eisenberg is a good Lex. It's just not going to happen. Um, but overall, it is a more entertaining film. Even though the first couple hours are so slow, it took me about 4 times to really try to sit through this thing because it was just a very, very slow moving movie. And it's 4 hours. So imagine there's a lot of stuff that just drags on for way too long. In fact, if he would have cut it to a 3 hour movie, it would have been a lot better. And I think it would have been more enjoyable. But at the end of the day, he made it as long as he possibly could for you, the fans, who have been wanting to see this for a long time. So you got to give credit where credit is due. And for the fans who liked it, at least you got to see your final Snyder Cut movie of the Justice League, and hopefully going forward you get more within that universe for you guys. For me personally, I'm looking forward to Robert Pattinson's Batman and see what he does with that. And again, there's room for everything. I'm even looking forward to seeing Michael Keaton return, and that's something that I think is going to be awesome because that in itself I think it's going to issue in a whole lot of different things, like a possible Batman Beyond, and he's going to sort of become like the Nick Fury, as rumors go, of that universe. So that's cool. I mean, he definitely is a great actor. I love Michael Keaton as Batman and Bruce Wayne. So I mean, I'm excited to see what they do with him. But again, the rise and the fall of this project of Snyder's. Unfortunately, it ended with just them announcing they don't want to move forward for now. But things change all the time, so I don't want to like just be doom and gloom for those who are active fans. Don't give up hope. There is still a possibility that you might get more within the universe of the DCEU built by Zack Snyder. One question that I always get, and this is something that I want to do on these videos. I want to answer at least a question or multiple questions if I get them from you guys. But one question that I did get was before I did this show, and he's the only one that came in about this particular topic was I happy with the overall casting of Batman and Superman and the way they did them in the Snyder Cut? I mean, was I happy with the way they turned out compared to the Justice League? And the answer is yeah, because it was a little bit more honest to I think to what the original script was, and it was a little bit more honest to what Zack Snyder's vision was than what Joss Whedon was doing. I don't know really again what Joss Whedon was thinking when he did his cut, but I will say that this was a little bit more cohesive for a longer movie. It was a little bit more cohesive. It felt more, or it really did feel more organic and better put together than I really thought they were going to do. So, I didn't hate the thing, didn't love it. Wasn't the greatest 4 hours of my life spent watching anything. If I had to give it a rating from 1 to 10, I would give it a solid 6.5, 7 around there. 6.5. Let's go there. I gave the other, projects, Men of Steel, Batman v Superman, and the other Justice League much lower, ratings. So 6.5, it's a pretty good jump from a 3. So that tells you right there where I'm at with these movies. So there you go, guys. That's my take. That's my Q&A question of the episode. And I hope it answered the question for the person who sent it in. Um, who was this? I forget the email. I will start doing that. I start addressing the email where I got it from. This came from Facebook. As soon as I posted it, somebody direct messaged me and asked if I would ask this question. In the future, if you guys do want to get any questions to me, please do so by directing your email directly at thejackalshead at gmail.com. That's thejackalshead@gmail.com. And until the next show, guys, which is tomorrow, which I'm going to talk about Indiana Jones 5. And we're going to do that tomorrow at 11:30, like this one here, scheduled for 30 minutes. And hopefully you guys join me for that. There you go. This is my show for tonight. This is, again, the rise and fall and rise and fall and rise and fall of Snyder's DCEU. Hopefully for those fans, again, you get more rise and you get more show. HBO Max is an outlet. I don't know why they're gonna like just poop on this, but guys, keep the fight alive if you really want to see it. Till next time, please hit the subscribe button, hit your notification, give me a thumbs up if you like what you saw. You know what to do. Leave your comments below. Whatever you want to see coming up in the future, if there's a particular topic you want me to touch on or talk about, or actually touch it, you let me know on the comments, and I'll go ahead and I'll make a video about it. So talk to you then. This is Inside the Jackal's Head. Peace.